Thank you, Last Cairncóla. Minister, I'd like to congratulate you for initiating and delivering the Arts and Culture Recovery Taskforce report. Arts and culture identify us as a nation. Both you and I have participated in the arts and understand its importance to those involved. Minister, can you discuss the following key recommendations of the report: capacity building and upskilling and the UBI pilot scheme? Thank you.
In line with the commitment in the programme for government, I established the Arts and Culture Recovery Taskforce to develop a clear approach informed by the view of stakeholders to protect and sustain the arts and culture sector through the COVID-19 recovery and beyond. The negative impact of the arts and the arts, culture and live entertainment has been well established and quantified over the past number of months in research undertaken by the Arts Council and by my department. As an artist yourself, Deputy Duffy, I know that you are keenly aware from our numerous conversations of that devastating impact of COVID-19 on so many of your friends and colleagues working in that sector. The task force has reported, and I've brought it to the attention of the government colleagues and arranged for its publication. Along with Chair Claire Dignan, the members of the task force brought together a depth of knowledge and experience. The task force produced this report in a matter of weeks, and I'm very grateful to all of the members for their energy, commitment and insights. In reference to the two recommendations that you mentioned, under the UBI, which is the key recommendation, as you'd be aware, there's a commitment in the programme for government to request the Low Pay Commission to examine universal basic income, informed by a review of previous international pilots and resulting in a universal basic income pilot in the lifetime of the government. While this is a matter for the Low Pay Commission, once requested by the Department of Enterprise, Trade and Employment, I am personally very supportive of this proposal, which reflects the commitment set out in the programme for government. I want to see this thoroughly examined in the context of the National Economic Plan. Naturally, this will ultimately be a matter for the Low Pay Commission, but there are clear reasons why the arts and culture sectors can be the right sectors for such a pilot. There have been numerous trials of the UBI in other countries, notably Finland, and even a recent call from 500 MPs and lords and local councillors for a trial in the UK. And France has a scheme in place since 1936 that supports artists. In relation to sector capacity, capacity building and upskilling scheme for artists and creative workers, aimed at recovery and renewal through professional development. This is a measure around learning and development. The task force considered that as a dedicated bespoke scheme of supports was required, and this is something else that I'll be anxious for the oversight group to examine.
Thank you, Minister. The Green Party has campaigned for the introduction of universal basic income and successfully negotiated to have it included in the programme for government. The report sets out an initial pilot scheme for the arts and cultural sector, this being the first time the state will have such a programme. The Green Party has always advocated for the vital role our artists play in maintaining a healthy society, and the £4 million capacity building and upskilling funding is welcomed. From my participation as an artist in this sector, I believe artists are conduits who reflect society through their work. They often become fused into the heartbeat of their communities. This can bring various mental health issues, and I want to highlight and welcome the Minding Creative Minds recommendation, which aims to combat this. Can you discuss the measures you intend to take from this report on mental health, Minister?
Thank you, Deputy. Under the heading Ensuring the Wellbeing of Ireland's Creative and Cultural Community, the task force recommends the establishment of a programme that provides wellbeing supports to the creative sector. This is based on programmes such as Minding Creative Minds, an organisation established to offer a free 24/7 wellbeing and support programme for the Irish music sector. They provide access to an experienced team of trained counsellors and psychotherapists who can offer short-term intervention and advice covering practical day-to-day issues that cause anxiety and stress. COVID-19 is bringing a lot of stress into all of our lives, but many of us rely on arts and culture to provide some relief. But those who make the art need the support too. And I am very supportive of this proposal, and I've asked my officials to seek to progress this measure as soon as possible. It needs to be promptly addressed. Just as we miss attending live music and gigs and going to theatres, our artists are really missing performing in front of audiences. That interaction with an audience and a musician is key, and it's part of their of keeping their positive mental health for our artists. They need that support, and I will look to address that.
Thank you, Minister. I will end as I began by congratulating you for initiating the task force. in order to protect the arts and cultural sector during and beyond COVID-19. It is important to see the mental health of artists being supported through Minding Creative Minds recommendation. I know you have spent a considerable amount of time pursuing mental health resourcing generally in your time as a TD to date. And it goes without saying, funding of our artists through upskilling and capacity building is essential for a vibrant, dynamic sector. In the past, I have received funding and I know firsthand how vital it can be, not only to assist creative professionals in their endeavours, but also to help us better relate to one another through appreciation of our shared culture and art. With our colleagues in the Green Party, we have long campaigned for the introduction of universal basic income. It is great to see a pilot scheme of this green policy being acted upon by the Government. Can you give a firm timeline of when UBI will be in place and operational, please? Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy. That universal basic income is well established long before COVID, and as I've said earlier, those who create artistic work or creative work, and where it is their chief occupation, they often experience income security and cash flow problems, and that's pre-COVID and it'll be post-COVID, and that financial stress can impede creativity. A 2018 review of paying conditions in the performing arts by Theatre Forum found 30% of artists and practitioners earn less than the national minimum wage, and the circumstances in 2020, of course, are worse now. You referred to the programme for government commitment there to request the Low Pay Commission to examine that, and this is a key commitment in the programme for government. The task force has suggested that a UBI pilot would cost an additional £2.5 million per annum over and above the current PUP cost per 1,000 participants, but we'll need to look at other UBI models, such as Finland, such as in the Netherlands, and Germany, and California. So the recommendation to do a pilot UBI for the arts and culture community brings this debate forward, and I really welcome that, as it needs to be treated with the urgency it deserves. I've started those conversations around UBI with my Cabinet colleagues. Workers in the cultural sector need ongoing support if it's to avoid depletion of talent by migration away towards other sources of income.
Thank you, Minister. Moving on to the next question. Ivor Shea.